What's the laziest, easiest way you've lost weight? Stopped drinking soda. Only been about 5-6 months, but none of my pants stay on anymore without a belt. I'll just add, stop drinking sugars. A Gatorade a few times a day is pretty much the same thing as drinking a Coke. Got Invisalign. I stopped snacking throughout the day because I was too lazy to take the retainers out. This didn't work so well for me. I still wanted to eat, so then I would just have to brush my teeth and floss multiple times a day. The dentist said my gums are super healthy though, so that's a plus. VAR games. I bought my kids' Quest headsets for Christmas and accidentally lost 10 elbs playing when the kids were asleep. Got myself one and lost another 30 leebies playing Pizza. My wife died on Easter Sunday. We were together over 20 years. I've lost 70 pounds in the 2 months since. Last week alone, I lost 13. I probably also lost a fair amount prior while sleeping in the IQ as we failed at each step to make it to chemo. My doctor says my weight loss is okay as a temporary thing, but wants me to try to stay above 500 calories a day and not pass out. Mostly I live on the cream in my morning coffee. I do not recommend this method. Also, as she had a heck of a dark sense of humor, I'll point out that she lost even more weight than I have via cremation, although it was mostly water weight. Super easy on her part. She even got a nice ride there and back. Sending love, friend. Your loss is significant and difficult. Please find your solace when it is good for you to do so. Unsubscribing my DoorDash membership. Plus you probably saved a lot of money. Those deliveries are freaking expensive. Yay, I ordered a lot, sometimes took a day cause I was too depressed to go out and get food or cook. I'm doing better now. Sometimes I'm too lazy to make dinner and just have sleep instead. In a similar fashion, I lost a lot of weight freshman year of college because I was too lazy to walk to the dining hall to eat. Not lazy, but like I just can't move when I'm in bed like now scrolling to oblivion. Salmonella. I lost 6.5 in 7 days. So you're saying you lost weight by eating? Takes note. Personal trainers hate this one trick. Me and a mate from college were always quite chubby growing up. One day he got salmonella and was horribly ill for like a month. May have been something else, but he was genuinely seriously ill. He basically shed all his weight and looked quite trim by the end of it. Was annoyed though that he acted afterwards like he worked out in a gym for ages. A lot of people didn't go what happened, assumed he lost it through diet exercise. The sour grapes for me came about because he literally said, if I can do it, you can do it too. Like, yay mate, I'll just get horrific food poisoning and not keep anything down for a month too. Stupid sexy salmonella sufferer. It's wild how quickly your body composition can change. I caught the flu or something similar a few months back. I had chills and no appetite at all for about 3 days. I dropped about 10 pounds in that period. It felt like one of those hydroxycut before-after pictures because I looked so much more defined by the end, even though I felt like trash the whole time. On a similar note, I can also highly recommend malaria for weight loss. If you get so sick you vomit the medication that's trying to save you. Bonus points? Then easily solvable by a quinine shot in the ass that makes you partially deaf for a few days and just lay there hallucinating and pissing brown until you decide not to die after all. Great for that heroin chick. Look, sounds like a lit festival experience without the crowds. Bob going to the tropics without any deep. I'm just one stomach flew away from my goal weight. I'm on this new diet. Well, I don't eat anything, and when I feel like I'm about to faint, I eat a cube of cheese. Got salmonella from my tortoise. Me and the bathroom got very well acquainted. Nothing says sick quite like sleeping in the bathtub because then you're close to the toilet, and it doesn't matter if you shit in your sleep. Stopped drinking sodas. Dumping soda is the easiest, laziest thing to do for sure. It takes no physical effort, and it also expands your bank account. I cut out soda and quit eating fast food so much, and suddenly I had money and lost 50. Nowadays fast food ain't even cheap. I lost a decent amount of weight myself, but Taco Bell is a guilty pleasure of mine and get it every once in a while. 2-3 items from there can rack up to $20 easily. Truly insane. I did this a long time ago. Also, reducing alcohol consumption has broader benefit. I'm a little chubby, so I'm doing exactly that. I cut energy drinks completely 2 months ago and now tackling my soda addiction. Drinking a ton more water and hoping for an impact from it. Also reduced my portions with meals a little. Had food poisoning bad like this once. Fell asleep in the shower with the water hitting me, as the warm water is the only thing that made me feel better. Was on all fours, bent over onto my elbows. The amount of vomit and shit that happened in that shower. Then the amount of bleach to follow. Jesus. Passively rode a recumbent exercise bike while I played video games. I played a few hours a day, and I honestly didn't even notice I was riding. Looked down at the end of the night to see I've rode 20 miles. One day I played games all day, and it said I rode over 100 miles and burned like 6,000 calories. Before I wore that thing out, I think I lost like 40 bells over one summer edit. Sorry I couldn't reply to everyone. Didn't know this would be such a conversation starter. So I don't remember the brand or model of what I was using, although I know it was very heavy and very sturdy and had a tiny little screen, so it didn't block the TV. This was 15 years ago or more, but it was orange and black, and want to say the brand was maybe Marcy. The seat wasn't comfy, but because it was reclined and had a backrest, it gave me the support I needed. Really, the main goal here is to make it as comfy as you can, so you forget you're exercising. I also am skeptical of the 6,000 calories thing. I imagine those machines are insanely inaccurate, and I didn't read too much into it at the time. It was more the mileage I was concerned with, really. My opinion, the best games to play are those big year peaks like Oblivion, Skyrim, Dragon's Dogma, Dragon Age, etc. Really any game that has lots of traversal of the map, or even relaxing games like The Sims or Stardew Valley. Racing games are good too, but shooters are tough because you tend to stop pedaling when you need to focus. I played on Stree at the time, but nowadays really anything where you have a wireless controller would work. To anyone thinking about doing something like this, my advice is to simply stick with it. It definitely takes some work at first getting used to doing two things at once, but once you find the right resistance, the right seat length and the right game to play, you won't even notice you're pedaling. Keep sticking with it and trying new things until you get the right combo and you'll be golden. Good luck. This is the most interesting weightless notion I've heard. Yeah, it was as close to zero effort as possible without quite being zero effort. I was still sitting down playing games like normal, but my legs were moving the whole time and it just passively burned a ton of calories. It's a game changer. Makes cardio very easy. I play 4, 6 Rocket League matches or 2, 3 FIFA matches and barely even notice I've been on the bike for 30, 45 minutes. This worked great for me when I used to play a shitload of Forza Motorsport. The best part was when I was trying to speed up in the game to pass people, I would subconsciously start pedaling faster. How'd you not fall out from leaning over in the turns low? Training wheels strapped to his elbows. I find this adorable for some reason. Nice. I have a treadmill set up in the garage that I jerry-rigged a desk over, and I use it to play Civilization 6. Just one more turn. And for that reason, I end up staying on the treadmill way longer than I wanted to. When I read your comment, I had that meme in my head of the how'd you get so buff. I did one push-up every time X happened and was picturing someone running for about 18 straight whilst playing Civ and saying one more turn over and over again to themselves, lol. It's so addictive. I did this with reading books, just zoning out. Tried with games but got too in the zones and would stop biking without realizing. Yeah, games that require you to be in the zone are tough. Shooters were tough to play and bike, but my go-to at the time was Oblivion. What kind of seat did you have on that thing? I bike regularly, but my ass hurts after 6, 10 miles and is sore for a day or more after. It was reclined and fairly padded. Not super comfy, but not as noticeable when you're playing Oblivion for 6 hours straight. Intermittent poverty is good at experiencing a major depressive episode are my go-to food. Yeah, I was at my thinnest when I was so broke. I ate leftover avocados from my job at Panera because we were required to throw them all out at the end of my closing shift. So I ate mainly that or a potato, every now and then a veggie sandwich from Jimmy John's. Then I got a side gig at Panera to put away massive delivery orders after store hours, which involved organizing and putting away several pound boxes of frozen soup. My arms looked so good and my friend called me Laura Croft when I wore a tank top once low, but at the time I still had body image issues and didn't get the enjoy myself when I looked my best. At the same time, my diet was definitely unhealthy and I felt weak most days. Cheap foods are often low in nutrients, yet high in calories. When all you can afford is high-calorie crap or nothing, you can gain weight. Reminds me of a Tumblr meme I saw. Someone showed 500 calories of fast food vs fruits and veggie. Someone replied, "Now show me the cost." Edit. Food while broke is a multifaceted problem. Can they store food? Can they get to a grocery store? Or are they in a food desert? Assuming no car, do they have the time to use public transit to buy groceries? Do they have a job where they can bring a lunch? A lot of the replies seem to miss that this is not a simple issue. Go out to buy groceries on a full stomach. Your cravings to buy unhealthy random foods should go down a bit. I can't shop on a full stomach because I think I'll never be hungry again. Then there's nothing in the fridge when the inevitable happens. Psyllium husk this shit is magic and really feels like cheating. Basically, it is pure fiber, 0 calories, and has the interesting property of expanding when getting in contact with water. It will expand inside your stomach, giving you the nice feeling of being full. Hunger is gone. On top of that, it gives you perfect poops and can also help with other digestive issues, all while being completely natural and having a very neutral taste. Only important thing is to consume it with lots of water, otherwise it can cause constipation itself. Edit, cause many people are asking. I used raw psyllium husk, which looks like this. I don't have experience with the powder or the pills. I mixed 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk with water and downed it immediately, and also drank a lot of water afterward. That worked fine for me to reduce my caloric intake significantly. In combination with a proper diet, 1 tablespoon is already a lot. Start with less. Don't take too much of that stuff or it will suck up all the water in your bowels and cause constipation. Psyllium husk saved my digestive health. I had chronic constipation for like 6 months and couldn't figure out why. Hemorrhoids and bleeding every time I went. I tried everything from diet changes to intense exercise. I wasn't in danger. I would go once every 4 days, so there was no obstruction. I took psyllium for 1 day and I was back to normal. I very rarely have this issue come back, and I do it for 1 day and feel so much better. I had a migraine that lasted 5 days. Just drinking water made me nauseous, so eating was a no-go. After 5 days of not eating and barely drinking, I had dropped 10 pounds. I'm sure most of it was due to dehydration, but the fact remains that I dropped weight. As a bonus, I'd been wanting to quit smoking, and the migraine was so bad that I couldn't even think about having a cigarette. Once the pain was gone, I realized that I hadn't smoked in 5 days, and I should be past the worst of the cravings, so I decided to see how long I could stay quit. It's been well over 19 years, and I never did restart that habit. Psyllium husk saved my digestive health. I had chronic constipation for like 6 months and couldn't figure out why. Hemorrhoids and bleeding every time I went. I tried everything from diet changes to intense exercise. I wasn't in danger. I would go once every 4 days, so there was no obstruction. I took psyllium for 1 day, and I was back to normal. I very rarely have this issue come back, and I do it for 1 day, and feel so much better. My wife died. Sadness and depression made me lose my appetite. Wouldn't have mattered anyway because the best cook I've ever known was gone. Sorry for your loss. Walk whenever possible. Really, moving to a big city from the suburbs was it for me. I got moved from a sprawling southern city to Nike for a temporary work assignment. I lost 10 albs in 3 months. All this in spite of eating more food than I ever ate, which was amazing. I was out walking around from sunrise to late at night. Always something to do, and it was a walk and a train ride away. It took literally a month for my feet to get used to it and stop hurting. I was doing like 12 miles a day. This is part of why there's such a major obesity epidemic in America. Unless you can afford to live in one of the few truly walkable cities, then you're driving everywhere and losing out on exercise being built into your daily life. I have a car but live walking distance to everything. I barely ever drive. People assume I'm just poor. I've lost a date over it. The girl thought I didn't have a car. I had a nicer car than she did. What a bitch. You dodged a bullet. Consider yourself lucky. More like he walked away from the bullet. Cancer, chemotherapy, then a heart attack. Lost 90 pounds. I do not recommend it. Go through a breakup. Yep. I was at 165 elbs and got down to 119 in 5 months. Do not recommend. Everyone thought I was on drugs. Nope, just that sweet, sweet depression, baby. Rave scene. Ecstasy and else don't really mix with food. Dancing for like 5 hours helps too. I think you meant 50. disco diet. Too lazy to make lunch, too lazy to buy food, so I just waited until I got home from work to eat. Hard drugs and severe depression really did the trick for me. I was a fatty in middle school, had a lazy summer after 8th grade playing video games. Guess I forgot to eat, came back for 9th grade and everyone was like, how'd you get so skinny? Honestly thought I was still fat, didn't even realize I lost all that weight loss. That was my 8th grade summer too. New MO I got addicted to, always forgetting to eat. Lost all that baby fat and started high school very slim. Salmonella poisoning. Not intentional, of course, but I lost 20 ives in 6 days. I had a 2-night hospital stay and I begged for death. Even when I was released, I couldn't stomach the idea of food, and for an extra week, all I could eat was plain toast, white rice and water. 10 do not recommend. By not eating, well, you can't argue with results, or your growling stomach. It passes pretty quick, just have to distract yourself around normal mealtime. Find an active hobby you don't hate. I started rock climbing. It burns a ton of calories, I can stay for hours. I go twice a week now. This isn't quite as lazy as others, and slightly more positive, but once I decided it was okay for me to smoke weed and watch TV while I worked out, it suddenly became much easier to convince myself to work out. Just walk. Started riding the elevator up to class in college and walking down the stairs to my next class. Wasn't long before I found walking to class easier and started walking upstairs too. Tail game changer. No intense cardio or crazy pills or radical surgery. Just 2 legs and places to be. Oh, and cutting back on processed foods too. So much better tasting and weirdly cheaper. Drinking more water. Laziest physically was eating less and cutting out junk. Mentally it was torture, which made me realize this shit is basically drug. It may sound crazy, but I go for walks. That sounds like a bigger hassle than it actually is, especially if you are blessed with a forest or at least a decent park near your house. In my case, I smoke a fat doink, of not required, but it helped me with motivation, and I would have smoked either way, and go for a walk through the forest, for mental health at first. From that point on, I sort of made it happen. Walking long distances got easier and easier. Since I don't want to go to the forest every day, I started going for less smoky and less naturey walks. I use a step counter to A, get a hold of how much I'm doing, and B, gamify the journey. It's just so much more fun to see yourself hitting your step goals day by day. And since you're going to make some progress, you will realize that your old goals don't even challenge you anymore, and you set higher goals, additional motivation. Apart from that, I tried eating less, no calorie counting or anything. I never planned cheat days. I just ate more when I felt like it because I always knew I was on the right path anyway. The results speak for themselves. Within the last couple months, I dropped like 25, 30, about 50, 60 pounds. In that whole time, I never forced myself to eat things I didn't want to eat, didn't stay hungry when I would have liked to eat, didn't work out when I didn't want to. Overall, I think the most important part is to enjoy the journey, not only the result. You should find a sport activity that is a hobby, not a chore. Listen to your body when it comes to food. Am I hungry or am I bored? Am I not eating because I want to lose weight or because I'm genuinely not that hungry? Hope this helps at least someone a little bit. Stop drinking sweet tea. Don't keep anything easy to prepare or particularly tasty in the house. If you're not hungry enough to spend 20 minutes cooking up some bland rice, you're not really hungry. Even shit like that will taste like manna from heaven when you're truly hungry. Its spices are largely 0 calories, so bland rice is absolutely unnecessary. Spice up your life. It is genuinely guilt-free. Hot sauce too. Rice is a starch though. Pickles and most veggies hardly have any calories. Beef jerry is also a good skinny snack. Beef jerry lyle. Depression and anorexia would never recommend them. Intermittent fasting, increasing hydration, running around a lot at work to double up exercise with work time. Also got a couple promotions because of this.